Hello, everyone. So, yesterday we were working with this input plus module. Hold on one second. Pyip. That's what I want to. There we go. And we use this input plus module to make the process of validating inputs a little bit easier on us. But let's say there's some sort of like condition we want our inputs to have that really doesn't fit under any of the criteria we've discussed so far. Well, Python Plus does have a function called input custom. And the way this works is we can sort of make our own function, and that function will describe whatever condition we want to have our inputs go through. And then we can use that function as an argument in the input custom function and make it all work together, basically. So let's just look at an example. In this case, I want my user to enter numbers that add up to 10. Have to add up to 10. So we import the Python input plus module. I'm going to define my function. Add up to 10. And it's going to take some sort of argument, in this case, some numbers. And then, since the user is going to be entering, a bunch of different numbers that will add up to 10, we can make a list out of that, a collection of values. So I'm going to say numbers list equals list of numbers. So what this is doing right now is I'm saying there's a variable called numbers list, and it's equal to, and if you remember, like just how if I type int and then put something in it, it converts it to an integer. If I have list with my two parentheses around it and I put numbers in it, it's going to make a list out of all the numbers that I'm entering in it. So then we're going to put a for loop in for some I and some digit. So we have two variables in this case, in, and we're going to use the enumerate function with numbers list. We're going to enumerate the numbers list. Numbers list at index I is equal to integer of whatever digit we're on. So, this is basically just we had talked about the enumerate list. I mean, not the enumerate list, but the enumerate function I believe it was when we covered lists, but it's a way to like come up with a sequence of things. In this case, the sequence being our the values in the list. So this for loop is gonna run basically for the amount of items in the list, in the numbers list, and then it's going to, in each loop, go to the numbers list at whatever index we're on. So it'll start at like 0 and then go all the way up for the amount of values in the list, and then set that list at index whatever equal to the integer of whatever digit we're using. So, all right, where do we go from there? Well, we are going to then make an if statement. If we're going to use the sum function, the sum of the number list. If that does not equal 10, then this is a little different than something we've typically worked with, but we're gonna say raise exception, and in quotes, the digits must add up to 10, not, and then we're gonna put the percentage sign NS, and then end the sentence with period, close the quote off, put another percentage sign, and then in parentheses sum of the numbers list again. So let's get that out of the way. So what that is doing is, like, it's checking if the sum of the numbers list, if I add up all the values in the numbers list, if that does not equal 10, the exception is going to, the raise means this is going to be like how do you describe it? Like, basically, we're going to come up with this new exception. If you remember from the first video, we covered exceptions are like well, let's try something. If it doesn't work, we'll have some exception. So the exception in this case is the digits must add up to 10, not percentage sign S. And this part in the string is going to be filled in with the sum of whatever the numbers list is. So it'll replace this part of the string with the number that we're currently getting, not 10, but the incorrect value. Okay, so, and from there, we are just going to return the integer conversion of numbers. Okay. So this is our function. Now what we can do is say, all right, some new variable response. Let's test out our function. So response equals to pyinputplus, and I'm gonna put my adds up to 10 function inside of there, and then I'm gonna print out the value of response since it's a return function. And okay, let's run this program. So let me do like 1. So you enter 1, and you know that's the extent of our list. So all right, it may seem a little weird how the program works, but what if I put 1, 2, 3? See, now the digits are adding up to 6 because 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6. So this is how the program's working. You know, we could do 1, 2, 3, 4. And since that works, those digits add up to 10. 1 plus 2 plus 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10. And we can even write like a little message to ourselves, like, these digits add up to 10. And, you know, we can try this all sorts of ways, like 5 and 9 and 8. to add up to 22, not 10. But if I use 4 and 6, hey, those work. So this input custom takes as an argument some other function that we've made, and that function is going to describe the condition in which we want the user to enter whatever input. So in this case, we are taking, all the digits that the user entered, like 5, 9, and 8 in one case, or 4 and 6 in the other. And using that as like our numbers, we're going to make a list out of those numbers. And then, for the index, in our list, set that equal to the integer conversion of the digits in that list. So, when we use the list function, when it converts it to a list, the values inside are strings. So this part's just converting the string values in the list to integers. And then this if statement is checking, all right, now are the values in the list equal to 10? If they're not, give the user that exception, make them enter the code again. And then, if everything works well, if it doesn't hit this if statement, if no exception is raised, then return those numbers back to the user. Return the integer conversion of those numbers. So that's just one example of how it can create a custom condition that we want our users to follow. Something that's a little bit more, I would say, flexible than just working with regular expressions like we did in the last example. This is a way to make very, very specific criterias for our users to follow.